it all. And hey everybody, last part finally. So what happened to Coriolanus? Oh, they started for north with Lucy Gray. Yeah. So they were walking and talking, and she said something like, "Oh, it'd be nice in my new life not to have to kill anyone else," which, well, it's obvious, right? And he said, "Oh, I'm with you there. 3 seems enough for one lifetime." And here he made a terrible mistake. For her trust was very, very important. And listen what he said. So he said, 3 seems enough for one lifetime. By the way, he understands deep inside that he actually killed Sejanus. And he said it. He didn't even notice. So he knows. He knows it. He feels guilt. But Lucy is very smart. She also noticed it. He didn't notice it. She noticed. And she asked him, as a matter of fact, "Oh, who's the third?" And he was trying to shake it off. But she insisted, "Person you killed. You said you killed 3 people this summer." And so far she knew only about Mayfair and the Robin from the arena, but he said 3. So he couldn't admit what he did to Sejanus. So he left it off saying that, "Oh, the third person is myself. I killed kind of old self. Now it's a new me." But we see that she didn't believe him. So now she knows he's hiding something from her, and the trust is broken. And for her, trust was very important. That killed their conversation, but they kept walking, and they reached the cabin in the woods, and they decided to stay there overnight. All the way through the woods, Coriolanus was hating it. At first, he thought, "Oh, it's great to be free on their own." But then he was like, "Oh, so once we reach some place and find where to live, what on earth would we do with ourselves? Starting a family, but I don't want to start a family." And he also started to see that he hates nature around him. He hates to walk in dirt. He hates fishing. He hates clawing through the soft mud for worms that disgust him. And he wondered if this would be his daily activity from now on. Yeah, so you feel the mood, right? Not so lovey-dovey anymore. So at that time, also the heavy dark clouds rolled in as heavy dark thoughts. Lucy was actually okay. She caught fish, she was enjoying the surroundings, and then comes the turning point. They got into this cabin, and she was starting the fire, and he was just looking around, and he found hidden bag with guns. Oh my god! The short gun and the peacekeeper's rifle, the murder weapons. Lucy noticed he found something and leaned down to see. He said, "Oh, should we take the guns along with us?" Lucy considered them for a long moment and said, "Rather not. I don't trust them." "I don't trust them," she said. Here, she doesn't mean guns, she means Coriolanus. She is smart. She figured the third person was Sejanus, and her trust was broken. Now that guns are found, she knows that the only witness of what Coriolanus did is her. And this phrase highlights that she doesn't trust him anymore. So she grabs a knife and says she will go to dig up some catnip and leaves. Coriolanus was actually happy, and she left because he had some time to think on what to do next. He thought that he needs to destroy the murder weapons, and then he would be free. He was so happy. He would be free to go back to the base. He would be free to go forward to District 2. He would be free to rejoin the human race without fear. He was so happy. Tears, oh yes, I think even tears of relief flooded his eyes. He began to laugh out of joy. Once the gun was gone, there would be nothing to connect him to the murders. Absolutely nothing. And then he thought, no, wait, there would be one thing. Lucy Gray. His mind raced. He was like, well, no matter, she would never tell. Even if I would leave, she loves me. She said so last night in the song. Oh, but I'll dump her alone in the woods. How do I say it? Oh, I love you deeply, but I love officer school more. That's so actually funny. So you see, he decided right away. He didn't love her. He felt something for her because she saw him as a good man, and he wanted to be seen as a good man. But now that the officer school is back and his life is not threatened anymore, he activated his realistic side. So right away he decided, yeah, I say goodbye. He wasn't even thinking, oh, but I love her. How could I leave her alone? No, 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 no. He already took his mind and going back. So it was not even a question. And then he just thought, how do I tell her? Because I don't want her to tell my secret to anyone. So, how do I do it? Then he remembered that she said that it would be hard for her to leave for North alone. And then he remembered the words of Billy Tope saying that Lucy Gray is not that easy. She's not a lamb. And then he remembered that she was actually strong and smart. He thought about how cool she'd kill in the arena. And then he realized that she was actually a dangerous opponent. And he thought, no, Lucy Gray was not a lamb. She was not made of sugar. She was a victor. So he checked the peacekeeper's rifle was loaded. What? A second ago he loved her. Now his rational survival part has been activated. So he went outside to find her, to talk. We read his thoughts, and there is no definite idea like I go kill her. No, he's just, where is she? Oh, where is she? Oh, is she hiding from me? Oh, why is she hiding from me? At some point he notices that he carries a rifle with him, and he's like, oh, maybe I should have left it in the shed. And it's so interesting. He doesn't fully process what he's actually doing, as if it's subconscious is acting on him. So he checks that the gun is loaded. He holds it in his hands, carrying it around almost absent-mindedly. And even for a moment, it caught his attention, like, oh, why do I have it? Maybe I should have left it in the shed. He thought it looked bad coming after her, armed, as if he was hunting her. But he thought that he wasn't really going to kill her, just to talk. He wanted just to talk to her. So he told himself, literally, in the book, he told himself, put down the gun. But his hands refused to cooperate. Oh my goodness, it's almost like split personality. So he's like, oh, why do I have it? Put this down. But he's not putting it down, and he keeps going looking for her. Oh my god. So he kept searching for her. Lucy Gray, are you okay? You're scaring me. Where are you? Please, I just want to talk to you. So then he started to search for her in the woods. He started to follow the steps. He noticed her scarf laying on the ground somewhere in the bushes. So it confirmed he was on the right track. He leaned to grab it, but there was a snake that bit him. He was shocked. Lucy Gray tried to kill him, he thought. One of the girls had said that Lucy always knew where to find snakes, so he thought that was a booby trap, and he'd walk straight into it. So Coriolanus knew nothing about snakes. He was sure it was poisonous. He didn't know how long he might have. He thought where she might be. He started running there, but then he heard something in the bushes. So he estimated her to be about 10 yards away. He lifted the rifle to his shoulder and released a spray of bullets in her direction. Got you? He thought. What? He left her 10 minutes ago. So after that, he crashed through the woods, but there was no trace of her. So he kept calling, Lucy Gray, it's not too late to work something out. Although inside he thought, oh yes, it was too late. Now, after she tried to kill him first, he owed her nothing, certainly not the truth. So he kept calling that, oh, come out, let's talk, it's not too late. And then he thought that he heard the song. this hanging "Are you coming to the tree" song. He did not see her, he just heard the song, and mockingjays picked up the song, and then it was chaos. Birds were singing, it was so loud. So Coriolanus started, blasted the woods in a full circle, going around and around until he has no bullets left. Madness. Then he collapsed to the ground. Nature got mad. He wasn't good to deal with chaos. He had to get out of there. He got up, he went back to the cottage and sank the weapons in the lake. Then he made it back to the base. He went to see a doctor and he said, "Oh, a snake got me. It's probably poisonous. Am I going to die?" But the doctor chuckled and was like, "Come on, it's not venomous. It's like a garden snake." And he was like, "Are you sure? I threw up and I couldn't think straight." So now he blames that he got bitten. That's why he couldn't think straight. But the doctor replied, "Oh, panic can do it." So interesting. When they told him it wasn't poisonous, so clearly Lucy wasn't about to kill him or anything, he didn't even think that. No. He was just happy he's alive and that tomorrow he'll leave for District 2. He went back to his room. He got all his belongings, he dressed, he began to pack, and he also opened Sejanus's locker, took his box as well, as he thought of mailing a note to Sejanus's family. That would be appropriate as their son's best friend. He did it actually hoping they'll keep support him even without Sejanus. So the next morning he left for the elite school. You would say, "What? His love? How? I know. So the next morning he left for the elite school, and the night before at the base, I think it kept raining, and he was wondering where Lucy Gray was. Dead in the rain, hiding in the lake house. He thought if she survived, surely she abandoned the idea of returning to District 12, and that calmed him. What? He knew she didn't try to kill him. He tried to end her life, and thinking that she's gone forever made him feel calm. Well, again, he didn't feel safe, so that was his number one priority, not love. Rational, survival part, completely shut down emotional part. So the train actually took him not to District 2, but to the capital. Dr. Gold made it this way, so he started to worry again. Maybe Lucy Gray returned? That's why I didn't get to my school, but here. But Dr. Gold was glad to see him, and she said, "Oh, the victor returns." She said she got his letter about chaos control, that 3C, and she was pleased to see he was continuing his studies and that he developed new worldview. Once again, she asked, "So what do you think about the Hunger Games now?" And he said that his perspective has actually changed, and Hunger Games are there not just to punish the districts, they are part of the eternal war, the one they can hold in the palm of their hand instead of having a real war that could get out of control. Also, the games is a reminder what they did to each other, and that the capital have the potential to do it again because of who capital citizens are. And Dr. Gosler, "And who are they?" And he said, "The victors." And all the others are creatures who need the capital to survive. So basically, that's what he said to Lucy before. People are wild, they need to be controlled, capital saves them by controlling, and since people always need a conflict, they have the games. And mini conflict that the capital can't control 100%, he thinks. So this is actually different from the movie, because in the movie, everything is made more obvious in the movie, but when she saw him at the very beginning, she said, "Oh, so you wanted to make up for me, so that's why you betrayed your friend." So she literally says it all. In the book, she didn't say any of that. In the movie, Dr. Gold was telling something about the president. Yeah, so you wanted the president to forgive you. But in the book, there was nothing about the president. Dr. Gold was in charge of everything. Also in the movie, she says, "So what's the point of Hunger Games?" So she also said it in the movie. But there, Coriolanus said a slightly different thing. He just said, we need to remind the districts who we are the victors, so for them to remember that we are winning all the time. So it's a little bit different. But, well, the general idea is the same. So back to book. Dr. Gold said that she erased the last games because it was a mistake getting students mixed up in it. It showed the capital as too vulnerable. Yeah, remember the bombing accident was tributes, killing capital kids. So she said, yes, I erased every copy except for the master copy. And Coriolanus was glad about the erasure. It was just one more way to eliminate Lucy Gray from the world. How cruel. And he even had a very cold thought. Something like, capital would forget her, districts barely knew her, so goodbye, Lucy Gray. We hardly knew you. So cool. And that's the person who loved her. So then Dr. Gold said he wasn't exiled forever, as he thought, but it was just, planned as a summer vacation for him. So now he can go back to university. It was like, what, a vacation? And then I'm like, vacation, and he did so many things during that vacation, right? If he wouldn't go there, he wouldn't be such a bad person in the end. So she said, I thought a summer with the peacekeepers would be very educational. So she said it a lot, and she never planned to send him out forever. So he was back to the capital, and he was to study under her at the university. All the previous weeks in District 12 were just an educational opportunity for him, and he had done so much there. I would say he lost his innocence there. So all goes well after that for him. When we read his thoughts next time, it's October, and he's at the university. He just finished like a special honors class in military strategy with Dr. Gold. He has a game maker internship with her. They set up Victor's Village at districts to motivate people to watch the games, and also the money prize, so people would more willingly go to the Hunger Games. Also, he was adopted by the Plinth family, kinda. So not really adopted. He was designated as their heir. It all happened very naturally, as the books say. His homecoming, their grief, the merging of the families. It was like, you lost your parents, we lost our son. Perhaps we can work something out. And they did. So that night, Coriolanus went to the academy to see Dean Highbottom, and he said he wanted to get his mother's compact back. Dean was sarcastic, as usual. So they started to talk about the games, and Coriolanus said, you know what? You invented them. You are responsible for them. But the Dean replied, part of the credit goes to your father. And Coriolanus like, what do you mean? I thought the Hunger Games were your idea. And then we got the whole story, finally. So it turned out, for Dr. Gold's assignment, Dean Highbottom paired up with Coriolanus' father when they were students. And while drunk, Dean Highbottom came up with the idea of the games. And the next morning he sobered up, and he was horrified at what he'd made. But turned out, without his permission, Coriolanus' father had given it to Dr. Gold. He wanted the grade, and that's why Dean Highbottom would never forgive Coriolanus' father. He said, like, it was never meant to be anything more than theoretical. The idea was horrifying, and your father actually submitted it. And Dr. Gold took it and ran. So he was kind of blaming Coriolanus' father for submitting it, rather himself for making it up. So, well, now Coriolanus knows why they hate. And then Dean Highbottom asked about Lucy, something like, so, how did you leave her? Seemed like you were in love, yeah, so how did you leave her in District 12? But Coriolanus shook it off and left the office like, I'm not going to discuss it with you. Also, he left the Genesis Morphling there. He knew Dean Highbottom would drink it, so Coriolanus put rat poison in it, mercilessly. He's unstoppable now. Like, his emotional side is gone, considering Lucy Gray. He didn't want to talk to anyone about her. He asked his bandmates about what happened after he left, and she disappeared. Everybody thought that Mayer had killed her, and he felt nothing about it. Was she alive, dead, a ghost? He thought she and her mockingjays could never harm him again. Sometimes he would remember a moment of sweetness and almost wish things had ended differently, but then rational part would activate and say that it can never have worked out between them, even if he'd stayed, because they were simply too different, and he didn't like the way it had him feel stupid and vulnerable. He thought that if he would marry, he'd choose someone he hated, so they could never manipulate him the way Lucy had. Never make him feel jealous or weak, which actually makes sense. If you live with a person you hate, you would never do anything good for him, so they can't really manipulate you. So when he was entering home, he came back home, he hoped that Dean Highbottom already took the poisoned morphling, and after that, at the moment of his final breath, that's his thought, yes, so at the moment of Dean Highbottom's final breath, he would realize what so many others had realized when they challenged him, Coriolanus, that Snow lands on top. The end. What a story, huh? So he started as a good, intelligent, well-mannered boy, but deeply traumatized, right, by war, hunger, the loss of his parents, witnessing humanity at its worst, even cannibalism. So he tried to hold himself together, meet expectations, build a respectable life through hard work. But then Dr. Gould entered the picture, and in just a few weeks, can you believe it? It's just a few weeks. Her experience, her psychological games broke him down. He saw firsthand that adults in power could bend or ignore rules without consequences, and that realization, I think, reshaped his worldview. Power means safety. So you don't have to be a good man. No. Power. Power means safety. Without power, he had no protection. His fear drove him to actions he never mentally labeled as murders, only as necessary choices for survival. And by the end, he's so twisted by trauma and paranoia that he decides he should marry someone he hates so she could never emotionally manipulate him. That's the final form of his worldview. And in the book, last line, Snow lands on top. We see the beginning of cold, controlled, power-obsessed man he will become. So, where is actually Lucy? That was my question. So what did that happen? Was she really singing a song? Was she really in the bushes when he was firing? Where did she go? Where is she? Where is she? We don't know. So this question wasn't answered. So I hope in the next books we will get clarification to what happened to her. But for now, this is it. She's just gone. And this is it. That was the story of Coriolanus Snow.